You have been quoted as saying President Tinubu fears only one man ahead of 2027 election. Who is that man, and why do you think or believe Tinubu is afraid of that man?
No, sincerely, what Tinubu wants is a fact. I'm not just making up. He should be able to be, ahead, to be, peer with another candidate. He wants to a situation where he brings up a campaign of Southern solidarity. That is the turn of the South. South has 4 years, and that they're trying to remove him because he's Southerner and all that. And and he sees that the only Southerner that has the capacity to be on the ballot and also be able to challenge him and take over majority of the vote cast in the South. Because if you look at the data of the last election, in Southern bloc alone, P2B scored 45.2% of the vote that were cast, while Tinubu was struggling with about 38% of that vote. So you see that when you put them side by side, it is P2B that will be able to defeat the incumbent and then bring a government that will usher in responsible leadership and an accountable leadership that will be transparent. And he knows that there's this mass follower, this organic followership that P2B has among the young people, which he doesn't have. That's clear, he doesn't have it. So so it's really on that note that a lot of these parties are in disarray, and it's a deliberate hand of government. The government is using their third hand agents and all the agents in this political party to make sure that this political party. In my history of being a party manager for over let's say 22 years, I've never seen a place where the party comes to almost a situation where their issues cannot be resolved. When parties have specific organs within the party that can self-regulate, self-manage, and self-arrive at a solution to their problem. And in most often times, it is not just the party alone. There's a regulatory body that's responsible for management, for monitoring, for observation of political party activities, which is in the Independent National Electoral Commission. INEC responsibility goes beyond registering political parties. INEC is both a registrar and a regulator. So INEC would have called parties to meeting. INEC would have found a way to solve the situation. But the first time in the history of my political party administrative career, I discovered that INEC is saying that the party has no leadership. So it's bewildering and it surprised him, sincerely. It's something I've never seen, because there's a department responsible for that in INEC, which is called election and party management. And you also have even another department that does about to resolve issues harmoniously among members that are quarreling. I hope because of this fraud actually emanate from how the legal department mismanage information. Also the overbearing attitude of the previous chairman. He has people specific that are party leaders that he feels are supporting him, whether it's wrong or not. So he protests them. Even if you get a judgment against them, they stand by them. So I hope the current chairman will go beyond such level of partisanship and look at his the responsibility of the commission to be transparent, to be open, and perform for the general interest of our good and the good of our people.
If you are to score President Tinubu over 10 on security, anti-corruption, and economy, how would you rate him and why?
The current economic situation we have, the quagmire that we're facing, sincerely, Tinubu destroyed the economy. Tinubu destroyed the economy because Tinubu is a person who got into government and he didn't have plan, he didn't have policy, he didn't have programs. I think he thought that government would have been, conducted through his whims and caprices, where he dictates whatever I say become a policy. But as a developmental expert, I know that you need to look at the impact assessment of every policy that you take and how it will affect the downtrodden, the lowest of the people in the society. You don't just take policy because you felt, you have none that own power or the authority of the president. Then look at the very hasty, the very irresponsible manner in which the subsidy was removed. That day, you can fact check me any day, anytime. The filling stations increased their cost of transportation by almost 300%. And that's to do with those who earn 100,000 who stays in Yanya, those who earn 100,000 who stays in Kuwa, who have to come to work, those who are in way working in Musetu, who have to come to work. And that also drive into how much they can save. And that cost of transport affected the cost of goods and services. Because if you look at transport is a very, very important system within the economic structure of any society. Because when you increase the cost of carrying a basket for tomato from just when it was 500 naira to 3,000, you know what will affect? They will transfer that cost to the end user, to the consumer, which will not bear the burden of such skyrocketed cost. So his removal and his policies had no human face. He wasn't looking that there were masses in this country that have to survive after he does whatever policy removal he was going to remove. And that policy hasn't worked. That policy has failed because the essence of the removal of that policy was to be able to free resources from not paying the level of trillions we pay to people who still who take our money and don't supply the crude, who overinflate the level of consumption of PMS or whatever the PMS we consume within our territorial framework of a country. And that has not worked because that money was not free. That money is not available as we speak. It's not helping Nigerians. We are borrowing more. We are spending. We are in the quagmire about our resources. Our budget is about 30 trillion. Having 30 trillion shortfall. So we have a challenge that whatever decision the president took in the removal of subsidy are not translated to a better standard of living for the people. It has even made life more difficult. And for me, I think the president did not sit down with his people who are expert in management of economy to be able to do what is right. So this economy died because of his hasty policies, because of his unplanned policies, because of the impromptu nature which he announces policies as if they depend on his own ego for such policies to be able to drive and bring food on the table. You can't be talking about GDPs, you are talking about all sorts of things where Nigerians are hungry, they're impoverished. Look at the number of people who are out of school. Look at the people who are hungry. Look at the Action Aid report of 18 million young Nigerians unemployed. So what has it done to be able to make the economy a robust economy? Nothing. So nothing so far. You talk about security. I saw a video just now coming that there are communities in Kogi State where I come from, in Okunla, that have relocated, they have left their community. they have left because they can't. About 40 people were kidnapped from those communities, and there's nothing being done. The security agencies have no capacity. He talked about recruiting more police personnel. You can look at all the flip-flop of his policy. None has been executed. The policemen, we are not seeing them. The recruitment process, we are not seeing how effective it is. We look at the policy. He talks, oh, I will till 500,000 hectares of land, for farmland. I think it's one of the most fertile arable land, about 34 million arable land. That is fertile. That could be used to make. Look at Niger State is about 76.3 square kilometers of land. Kogi is about 29,000 square kilometers of land. Most of these places are ungoverned. People call it ungoverned area. I don't call it ungoverned. They are unused, vast, potentials that have been abandoned by government because government have become lazy. Especially this Tinubu administration, only waiting for oil revenue to be able to run an economy. And when there's no part of the place I'm looking at, security is not working. The children that were kidnapped in Kwara from the Kali schools, from Niger from the Kali schools, are still in their kidnappers then. Oh, they say, they are speaking with them. They're speaking with kidnappers and what else? You are having deliberation with people who have picked up children and telling the parents of the children that the children are doing well. I don't know the kind of things that come to the minds of those who manage our security architecture, where the national security advisor of this country will tell citizens whose children have been kidnapped and say the children are doing well. In the forest or where? Do you know where they are? Have you seen them? Why are they still there? So this challenge about people just talking and thinking that they are doing us a favor, God, you are beholden to us. We are not beholden to you. We have 230 million population. You want the one who want to be in government. You are in government, so you should not expect that we can't question you. You should not expect that the opposition should not exist. You should not expect that the constitution should be, strapped around with bandage and put under the bed because you are president. We're not living on your own authority. We're living on the authority of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as 1999 in the 5th Generation as amended. So we must speak and look at holistically the performance of the government. If I want to rate him on security, it's 1 over 10. If I want to rate him on economy, people are suffering. I don't know why we want to pretend. I have relatives. I go to my village. Now people can't travel. Nobody's traveling. The whole road, before it used to be cornered, before he came to office, I don't think the level of kidnapping in Ekiti, in Kogi, in Kwara, and Niger were there. So you want us to just wake up and praise him for doing nothing? That's why I asked those people in government who asked us, why are you talking? I said, no, you were in government. The buck stops at the table of the president. And if the president knows what he's doing, he cannot say one thing and then we see another. He told us that they have met out of the non-oil revenue that they generated and have surpassed their target for revenue generation. And then the finance minister came some days ago and said, we're having 30 trillion revenue shortfall. So what kind of flip-flop are we living in a society? Look, if you live in any civilized society, today, the Tinubu would have been having challenge because none of these things are, none of the people in his policy process are coherent. When he talked about, the wife said we're no longer going to be borrowing, going to 2026, Nigeria will be giving money to other nations. If the husband is requesting for more loans all over the world. So look, as an economist, I'm not against people borrowing money. There's never been a problem. As a businessman, you could borrow, channel your money into investment, use it, make your profit and repay your loan. Our loans have become burden. We take this money, we don't see this money, whether they are stolen, whether they are effectively used, is a problem. And then we have for the first time in the history of this country, let me tell you the truth, it is the first time I'm seeing that federal government are taking up projects without the involvement of the National Assembly, without appropriation, which is a crime under our law. Tell me which appropriation brought Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway. No appropriation, presidential asset. Without the National Assembly making laws for it, we have 3 arms of government, and we have merged it into just having the executive. Because that is the challenge. You can let them, the Abaya Expressway, they should show me where the National Assembly made appropriation for such expenditure. We're in a country right now that people are spending our money without following the regulatory framework that has been established over the years. We cannot kill democracy in order to build ego of those in power. We must be able to sustain democracy so that the children yet unborn will have the ability to participate in an open, fair environment where their voices will continue to be heard.